Hello, my gorgeous humans. You know when you go live and then you're like, wow, I look like a straight savage. Should we do this? You're watching this on the replay, which means you get the good look at this. Hey, what's up? We're gonna talk about savage energy today and the mistakes that I see so many high achieving women do with building businesses and love and power and femininity and all the kind of things that my community is walking themselves through, all the things that I've walked myself through. Because here's the thing that I see, and let me know if this lands for you, is that we do this thing where it's like because we work in this industry, we work either in high level and we have some sense of self-development work under our belt, and a lot of my clients are mentors and they work in the space and they navigate these kind of things where it's like, I'm really good at business, and then there's this relationship aspect, and then something in my relationship happens, right? Like there's not a match there. And so instead of focusing on that, because I have a little bit of shame about myself because this isn't going right as planned, I throw myself into work, and then I have this trauma response with my work ethic where like I'm just going to drown myself in it, I'm going to escape in it, I'm going to love it, I'm going to make love with it, I'm going to get lost in it, and I'm going to remind me of my power, because if I think about my relationship, then therefore I have shame, and then therefore I don't really want to look at that. So I want to really lean into the aspect of my life that gives me this sense of personal power. And then we continue the cycle, and then we wonder why when we finally get into relationships, we're deeply seeking this twin flame aspect of our relationships. And it goes and it burns out, and it goes and it burns out, and it's hot and it's heavy, and the sex is so fucking good. Oh my God, it's so fucking good. And then we're back in our business and we're like thriving there, and then we're in the same spell that our relationship isn't working again. So we throw ourselves into business and we do the whole thing kind of thing, and we repeat this cycle. Let me know if that lands for you. And I say it in this playful way because I did this. I did this for so long. If you are new in my world, hi, my name is Laura Patricia Martin. I'm a trauma specialist, I'm a relationship specialist, and I literally change the world when it comes to dating in this modern world. And I bring honest conversations around it, especially for high-level entrepreneurs that are looking to heal this aspect of their relationships, because they've done it. They've done work, right? I'm sure you've done work where it's like, I've gone to therapy, or I've taken a program, or I've done this thing, or I've read this book, or I know who Esther Perel is, right? Like I've done these things, so therefore why am I not succeeding in my relationship? And then because we work in such an industry where we have to stand in our authority, it's hard to go, there's one area of my life, oh, I just saw my lipstick bleeding. There's one area of my life I'm not doing so hot in. And I know this because this was me. Oh my God. When I was leaving domestic violence, so it birthed Sacred Singlehood, which is on offer right now, which if your butt is not in the arena right now with this, like, what are you doing? What are you actually doing? Because it's not another business course that's going to help repeat your pattern. Business and relationships, they are the same thing. Literally the same thing. Your sales and your dating and all the kind of aspects of your life, they are the same thing. And if we don't understand how to actually become this relaxed feminine, if we don't understand how to become this, let me make sure I turn my phone on work, there we go, this aspect of ourselves, this is men, women, all these kind of things, but this aspect of ourselves, instead of going from the survivor complex, which is my high achieving women, we love the survivor complex. We love chasing the highs. We love this feeling of coming alive in the chase. It feels so good. It's a sexy savage. But yet we're bringing that to our relationships and then wondering why it's not working. So I'm here to dismantle that. I'm here to really have honest conversations around modern dating, and really when it comes to my ladies that have been through trauma, which all of us have to some varying degrees, to be honest, but that's kind of our motivator for building businesses, to be honest. I don't want to be like X from my past, right? So therefore I'm going to build something so that I have something of my own, so that I can prove my worth, so I can be in here, so I can do these kind of things. Like, it never really starts from a grounded place. Let me just call a spade a spade. But we carry that into our relationships. And because we have the survival complex within our relationships, we don't want to lean in where we know we need to lean in. We make every other excuse. And I know this to be true because here's what we do. We lean into the spaces that remind us of our power, and we shy away from the places that take that away. And because relationships are so fucking vulnerable, we lean out instead of in. We go, ooh, that one's kind of crunchy. You know, my partner does this. We're still in this kind of dynamic. I haven't fully, navigated this aspect of it. I'm still keeping this remnants of it. I'm still slightly kind of bouncing around. He's still kind of in my life, but he's kind of not. I did this with my last breakup. That's what I'm saying. That's why I can speak from truth when like the breakup happens. But yeah, we're kind of not totally broken up, and I don't want to bring it to my platform, and I don't want to do these things. Like, it takes more energy to hide it than it does to heal it. And because we love and we strongly identify with that savage complex, relationships usually come after a heartbreak. Like, looking at our relationships usually comes after our heartbreak. And with Sacred Singlehood, like, the evolution of it, I built that program specifically because I went through domestic violence. I came out of domestic violence, and I found love. And it was beautiful, and it was great, and it was amazing. But when that love started to fall through, there was so much shame because of this industry I happen to work in, the coaching industry, leadership, being one of the greats. And so if I let the world know that my relationship wasn't going as planned, I wasn't one of the greats, was I? That's not fucking true. Right? That's why I share my stories with you guys. That's why I talk about this stuff. But that was something that highlighted my survivor complex, which is a huge aspect that has come within this evolution of Sacred Singlehood. Because when we're looking at our life, the survivor complex probably helped you build your business, probably helped you get really good grades in school, probably helped you into getting the body that you want, probably helped you climb that ladder. We can't deny it. I did it. I have it. Like, this is why I call it my fucking savage. Like, I love her. I'm turned on by her. She's a fucking beast. She's amazing. But when it comes to relationships, and we're going into relationships, and it's like, I want my twin flame. I want this person to come alive in me. I want this passionate sex. I want orgasms everywhere. I want a man to devour me and take me and claim me, and totally doable. Totally doable. It happens. We live it. I help hundreds of women do this. But if we're tackling our relationship stuff by ignoring it and diving into work and thinking, if I just give it enough space, therefore I'll do it because I know enough stuff about trauma and selling. I know enough stuff about my, mindset and, nervous system work and all this kind of stuff when it comes to business. So therefore, like, I'm just going to keep working because that's what feels good, and I'm not going to focus on the relationships. And then we get into a relationship and we see the pattern happen again. It's not about the time between your relationship. It's what you do in that time between those relationships. I help people. I'm a fucking wizard at relationships. I help people heal in quantum speed. It is wild what happens. My own life being the example of that, from 2 years to 6 months. And the conversations that I have with people that I date, like, there's no mistake. The common denominator is me. My clients have the same results. That's the cool thing about this. When we move out of the survivor complex, and it takes time, it takes dedication, it takes practice. When we move out of this survivor complex, it's not just our relationships that shifts. It's our business. It's our friendships. It's our environments, our community. Because people feel you as a living sanctuary. People feel you as a safe place to land. They're drawn to your magnetism, this holy place, because sometimes that hustle energy, sure, it's enticing at first. It's enticing. You're like, oh my God, like, she's so disciplined. She's so dedicated. You're like, holy fuck. It's this thing. But there's two different people that are doing this, right? The sexy savage and the ones where you're like, that seems a little disordered. There's these two complexes, right? Because the greats, they do things many of us don't do. They do it because they are great. That's what makes them great. They do things the natural human doesn't do. That's what's awesome. That's what makes them a fucking savage. But they know how to surrender. They know how to surrender into their relationships, into their heart. They know how to make space. They know that their work is just an extension of who they are. They know that their work is just a byproduct of how grounded they feel in themselves. And there's strategies and there's things and there's systems that we can put into place. But I can almost bet you that you don't need another strategy. You need to relax. You need to feel safe. You need to learn how to navigate these moments of in between and uncertainty and really find yourself again. Because if I can tell you one thing, I remember when I left domestic violence, it's when I started my first business. It was gut-brain connection, IBS anxiety, all that kind of stuff. It was health. And I started that first business and I was so successful. It was so good. It kept me so distracted, y'all. Like, that is how it got to be so successful. I wanted to prove to the world that I wasn't that girl anymore. That I wasn't that drug dealing woman, the girl that was putting up with domestic violence, that I wasn't the lost one, that I knew what the fuck I was doing. I needed to prove to myself. This is why when I talk about when there's stages of recovery, there's the survivor. At first, like, we need her. We need her when we're going through this shit. We walk out of it. It's like this ladder, right? We walk out of domestic violence or narcissistic relationships or trauma with our family or trauma with friendships or body dysmorphia or whatever it is you've walked yourself through. Like, we needed that survival complex with that ego so strong, with that pride to be like, yes, I fucking made it. And then we do some magic with it. I built the company. I don't know what you did, but you probably did something fucking amazing. But we do things. A lot of the women in my world, we built our businesses out of a trauma response, out of a survival mechanism. But we forget, once we get to this next step on the staircase, that there is no more need to survive. There's just a need to surrender, to trust, to soften. And there's balances, of course. There's this sexy, sacred discipline, and there's this savage that comes alive, and she gets to play, and she gets to come forward. And if you see yourself repeating these toxic cycles in your relationships, it means you didn't heal, you just distracted. Tell me that doesn't land with you. Tell me that does not land with you. Because we all fucking do it. It's, this pain feels so much, and I know I had a part to play in it. I know I had a part to play with it. I didn't want to, like, when I was leaving my domestic leave, I didn't want to look at the fact that I put myself in that position, that I didn't fucking leave. And yes, of course, there's statistics, 7 tries, all these kind of things, but I didn't want to look at it. So I distracted myself from it until 2 years later, I had built this very successful company. And anytime I was alone, I was suicidal. Anytime I was alone, I made sure I wasn't alone. I was obsessive, compulsive. I couldn't relax. I didn't know what it meant. People didn't feel comfortable around me, and yet I was building this movement. And it worked for a while until my sickness came through. My body shut down, and that's where I was left. And that's when I started to look at the foundations of what sacred singlehood are, the mind, body, soul aspect. Like, yes, you have to understand your body first, what it needs to be nourished, the tools, the practices, the understanding how and when to feel, and all these aspects that are so beautiful when we are truly embodied. And then there's the mind, that's just the healing aspect, because your brain, especially over 30 years old, like, it takes 3 weeks to start changing a habit. It takes almost 4 months to actually, like, if you think of it like a jungle, like, those neural pathways are already there. And if you're trying to build new ones and you come in with your machete and you're trying to knock it down, like, it takes time and dedication and practice. Like, there is healing that has to take place, and then it's the embodiment of it where you no longer have to work through it. And when we move out of this survivor complex, it's scary, because we don't want to look at the shame that's actually underneath. I was a part of this. Shit, I was really a part of this. Now what do I want to do? This is why I got through my breakup so quickly. You guys were here for it. You all saw it. But why I got through my breakup so quickly is because I didn't shy away from the fact that there was shame, that I didn't leave when he came and I saw he was cheating. You know, like, I felt the shame, and sure, I distracted for a little bit, but as soon as that glass house got ruptured, I went, why is this the pattern that I'm repeating? And I am ready to face it, because the thing is, we can sit here and we can say, like, I don't have time. I'm not, I'm so busy with work. I'm doing these kind of things. But the phrase is true. Where there's a will, there's a way. If it's important to you, if love and your relationships and your softness and your tender heart and your emotional control and your emotional honesty and really reprogramming your nervous system to step into your femininity, that fucking magnetic being that you get to be, If that is truly a priority for you this year into next year, you'll find the space. You know that. You work in this industry, you know that. But if it's not a priority, don't use different words. Like, I don't have time. Like, use different words. It's just not a priority right now. But let me tell you, on the other side of building that business, you're gonna have to face your shit eventually. Business growth doesn't make this stuff go away. The dissatisfaction in relationships, or the repeated cycles, or the repeated patterns, if it's not a romantic partner, it shows up in friendships. If it's not in friendships, it shows up in clients. If it's not in clients, it shows up in kids. Like, it will continue to come through until it's released and we complete that cycle, and that's your nervous system. That's true trauma work. This is how this work works. So please, for the love of God, remove the shame. You are good at business. You are brilliant at business. You are so good. That's how you got here. That's how you got to the stage of your life that you're at. You are so good at understanding trauma and tantrics and whatever it is that you teach. You are so good at it. It is okay. It is okay if you don't know relationships. If that isn't your strong suit, if it's not the area you've spent studying and all the things, that's okay. There is no shame about it. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to be the authority of all things. This is something I wish I would have told my younger self. I don't have to know everything. In fact, it's actually very brave to be the dumbest one in the room and to admit when things haven't gone as planned, and I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to defeat this. I'm ready to walk with it because I'm ready to shift and mold who I want to become. So, I'm inviting you to come to Sacred Singlehood. This program is magic. It has changed my life. It's changed my client's life. It's not even for just romantic relationships and, navigating fresh out of breakups. I've had people just in relationships. I've had mothers. I've had people in their 70s. I've had people fresh out of divorce. I've had people fresh into commitment. I've had people way into commitment. Engage. It's the walk of life of where you want to start to learn about yourself so that you can become sovereign and really tap into this interdependence so that you can navigate these in-between periods of life with power and grace and femininity, and no longer shaming yourself for not knowing because you dealt with your relationship patterns in such a different way because we connect the mind, the body, the soul in a way that I've never seen done in this industry. Never. Because we forget the body needs to be regulated first, and then we can do the healing. That's my heart, it's my soul, it's my love work. So this is going to be 3 weeks long. This is going to have 2 calls every week. And we are going to have a private Voxer chat. I don't know if we're going to be doing this next time because it does require attention and things like that, but this is the community aspect that I love because in between the calls there's that integration incubation period, and so you get to tap into Voxer, which is an audio app inside with all the other girlies, and you get to grow that and communicate, and it's so fun. Instead of like Facebook groups and things like that. That used to be our vibe, but now we do Voxer because we travel, it's the holiday season, and we like to do that. You get access to replays. You'll have that until the next season, and then whatever else comes up. It's like a hybrid, like a mastermind hybrid, because it's live calls, so you get your program. Like, I'm going to talk about the concepts of what we're learning, and I'm going to teach you, and then you get live Q&A, so you get to ask me questions, and you get to be coached, which is fucking amazing, right? So this is how we quantum heal. That's how we lean in. That's how our nervous system gets to become our best friend, and we do things in a different way, so we no longer put things on the back burner, and we actually lean in instead of lean out. So share this with anyone that lands with. You think it would land with. I don't know why I got tongue twisted on that. I am gonna go drink my coffee and stuff now. I love you. Let me know how this lands. I'm always curious. What do you guys think? What comes up? What's on your heart with these mini trainings, with my mini microphone? I love it. So I love you. Takeaways, share below what you're gonna do with your savage self today after listening to this. Okay? I love you. Bye!